Imagine stumbling upon a ship manifest from 1908. You scan the names Cuomo, Sinatra, Bruno, all Southern Italian. You flip through records from Brazil or Argentina Bolsonaro, Bergoglio, Ferrari. They read like a census of Northern Italy. Why does this pattern exist? Why did Southern Italians overwhelmingly head to North America while their northern cousins settled in Latin America? This isn't just a tale of geography, it's a tapestry of culture, hardship, and transformation. Today, we trace the journey of millions who crossed oceans seeking survival and built two distinct Italian identities. From the moment Italy unified in 1861, the country faced profound internal crises. Between 1860 and the start of World War I in 1914, as many as 16 million Italians emigrated. Some estimates claim 14 million just between 1876 and 1914, with annual departures escalating from 220,000 to nearly 650,000 per year. Italy's population around 1900s was just over 30 million, so nearly half the nation, whole families, villages, cities even, left. The historical phenomenon known as Italian diaspora had begun. But this wasn't adventurous travel, it was escape. Escape from hunger, poverty, and hopelessness, which swept through the peninsula. For many, the sea became the only option. The first big wave between 1876 and 1900s was dominated by emigrants from northern Italy. Surprising, right? Veneto, Friuli, Lombardy, Piedmont. Whether poor or prosperous, these regions were shattered by a deep agricultural crisis. Small-scale farmers couldn't survive global price shocks or the collapse of outdated land systems. At the same time, Brazil and Argentina were experiencing growth and a hunger for skilled labor. Their governments made bold moves, offering land grants, subsidizing travel, and even cash bonuses to lure Europeans, especially northern Italians. Agents traveled from Latin American cities to tiny Italian villages, promising land to cultivate and contracts for honest work. For many, it was an offer they couldn't refuse, and so hundreds of thousands left. They settled in the plains around Sao Paulo and the Pampas of Argentina. These northern Italians, Catholic, hardworking, and racially accepted, became farmers, landowners, and well-integrated members of society. Their customs, polenta-based meals, quiet gestures, and even new dialects like Italian became ingrained in Latin American life. Then came the southern exodus. Unlike the North's agricultural collapse, southern Italy faced generational poverty and systemic neglect. Following the unification, the South suffered new taxes, failed land reforms, and minimal industrial investment. The majority were landless peasants surviving on scraps from absentee landlords. The population ballooned and misery grew. Natural disasters struck, like the 1908 Messina earthquake. But the doors to Latin America were starting to close. However, in the northern part of the American continent, an industrial revolution was in full swing in the US. Factories were multiplying, railroads were expanding. Labor demand was soaring, and so southern Italy poured out its people, not into open fields but into crowded cities like New York or Chicago. Between 1900 and 1920, over 4 million Italians arrived in the United States, and 95% of them came from southern Italy, from the regions of Sicily, Campania, Calabria, Abruzzo, or Puglia. Their surnames, still visible today in comment sections, city directories, and family trees, tell a southern story. Canada saw a similar trend, although smaller in scale and later in time. Cities like Toronto, for example, became hubs for Calabrian immigrants. But life in North America was harsh. Southern Italians entered as unskilled laborers, working in factories, mines, and rail yards under brutal conditions. Only California offered some agricultural opportunities. And here, the divide became cultural. In Latin America, Northern Italians blended in. They were familiar, Catholic, white, speaking a Romance language very similar to Spanish, which was easy to learn for them. They became farmers, business owners, community leaders. In North America, Southern Italians were viewed with suspicion. They were darker-skinned, spoke unfamiliar dialects, and practiced a Catholicism often misunderstood by Protestant majorities. Some weren't even considered white. Discrimination ranged from exclusion to, in extreme cases, lynching. Yet they persevered. Southern Italians created little Italies, churches, bakeries, restaurants, and newspapers. Their customs, hand gestures, food rituals, dialectal phrases shaped Italian-American identity. Today, these legacies remain. Italian Americans speak with their hands, cook Southern-style pastas, and mix Neapolitan or Sicilian slang into English. Their identity is resilient, rooted in adversity, adapted to a new world. Meanwhile, Brazilian Italians of Venetian origin eat polenta and rice, as pasta wasn't popular in the north when they left Italy and wasn't part of the regional tradition. Speak Italian and don't gesticulate as much. Even their language tells a story. A Brazilian Italian may speak in a way that's incomprehensible to an Italian American, but could still be understood in Italy. US Italian citizens blended Italian into English, but very few still speak the language of their home country. Their vocabulary is split across oceans and evolves separately. This diversity within the diaspora is a treasure. It shows us how migration transforms culture, not once but many times over. So, what about your family? Are you from Veneto or Sicily? Do you celebrate with polenta or pasta? Drop your surname in the comments, tell us where your roots lie and what traditions survive in your home. And if you're curious about Italians in Canada, Italian speakers in Brazil, or why Ellis Island's archives tell one kind of Italian story and Sao Paulo's farms another, hit that like button, subscribe and become part of this growing community. This is Italy, across oceans and continents. Until next time, ciao!